Good evening, traders. I hope you're all well and welcome to Prime FX evening call. I know it's been a while since I last did one of these, but I just wanted to kind of go over and get back into it again because we are going live on January. So I just wanted some of you guys to kind of get a taster of what our evening calls are about. Okay, so let's look at the fundamentals. Overnight, we saw cash rates being kept at 0.75, which is the interest rate for the Australian dollar. The reason for this is because they did already cut 2 times in 2019, so they're not looking to ease any more rates because they want to see if the unemployment rates can come back to where it was, and whether their job average earnings, wages, the average earnings on their wages can increase, and also inflation can increase, which is why they're keeping rates the same. But looking at this data gave overnight strength to the Australian dollar. I'll go over AJ and I'll show you. So we've had, this is our short trade today with eurnzd JPY. But let me just go over to AJ. So if I remove all of this, last night we saw that spike. You can see that daily spike here. This was caused by the cash rates being kept at same. What we saw was price action make that final push to the upside, and that's when we had Donald Trump started talking in terms of wanting to do the trade deal with China at his own pace, and that basically gave safe haven pairs the liquid that they needed to push price down. So we know that yen is a safe haven pair, but what we need to also understand is price action on this pair, Aussie yen, had created a new high, and price action was on its way to create a new higher low. So with us knowing that it created a high and created a higher, higher low, we wanted to see if price action could create a lower high. Okay, sorry, that's what I meant, a lower high. So we've seen the price action create a higher low here. Price action couldn't come back up and create a new high or equal high, created the first lower high. We clearly can see now on this daily candlestick that price action has left a shooting star. The probability of this candlestick now being filled so price action can create a market formation is pretty high. Okay, so overnight what would happen, what could sometimes happen is that price action may make a move up. It'll make a move up either to this area of structure where we've had previous support, so this area of support, and then we could see price action create this evening star, come back, create another little lower high, and then we could see a push over to the downside. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes on. I'm keeping my eye on to see if price action can come back into this region here, if we can reject, because I'm looking at daily time frame and I'm understanding that price action is creating a head and shoulder pattern. As I can see my head, I can see my shoulder, I can see my another shoulder being formed. Now it's just being patient and waiting for this price action to sort itself out. I can see the overall trend of the daily time frame. I can see price actions create a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Okay, until we break this structure here, this support turning into support here and resistance. Until we break there, structure still remains to the downside. Okay, we can clearly see this by using a trend line as well. Nice trend line can be applied, and we can see price action has to remain, keep going down until we see either break of this trend line and this whole structure make a move to the upside, or so break, retest, continuation would be a trend changing. But what we could also see is trend change earlier if price action comes back into this area of support, and we can see a market formation of double bottom. Then we can see that price action still wants to sustain this uptrend that it's creating on the daily time frame, and we could see a push to the upside. So with that being said, Aussie yen, we can see that cash rates data move to the upside, rejection, lower high, 4 hour now. Let's go and see what we can see. Evening star formation. Can we get a pullback into this zone here? If so, can we look for a short trade tomorrow maybe? That's the idea. Or can we come back and take out this high and come back and create another move up here, create a market formation? So I'm looking at these regions here tomorrow. On a 1 hour, I want to see if there's anything there. Nothing as of yet, but what I like is that price action had rejected this zone here, this area, which gives me more confluency that price action is more likely to come down into this region. Let me go down to the 15 minute and draw out my Fibonacci tool. I can pull it out and see that price action has created a first lower low, lower high, second low, could this be the next lower high where price action makes a move either down to the minus 27 back to 74, or price action can make a move back down to this equal low where we can see a double bottom. So if we get a double bottom in the London session, then we know that price is going to make a move higher. But if we don't, and we see a movement back into this region, then we could expect a serious drop, like the drop that we saw today on NZD JPY. So with that being said, keep your eye on this pair. Moving on to NZD JPY. So NZD JPY, the reason why we took the short trade. Let's go on a daily time frame. I want you guys to see this. Price action is in a downtrend, right? Clear downtrend. Clear downtrend. We finally broke out. Once we finally broke out of this downtrend to the upside, what do you think is going to happen? Price made a new high. It needs to come back and make either a high low or come back and retest this structure to confirm this breakout to the upside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on here. Sorry, move all the drawing tools. We can see that price action has broken out structure because we've broken support here. Previous support turned into resistance. Previous support was acting as an area of resistance, broke out. So what do we need to see? A pullback into this region. Why do we need to see a pullback into this region? High, 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 low. You could also pull a Fibonacci tool from this area. From this A, B, C, okay. From this region, because this is the area where price action, let me show you. This is the area where price action made a first high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So this is my A, this is my B, this is the C retracement, 618, and we've had that D extension. Okay, A, B, C, D extension. You can see the resistance, you can see the support, breakout to the upside. Once we had a breakout, we need to pull back either to this area of support or pull back to the moving averages. Okay, so what do I need to do now? Go back to the 4 hour and identify what we can see in market formation. Clearly, when price action was within this region yesterday, there was a head and shoulder pattern within this red area here. Let me just try to highlight that points now. One area there, and there was another area right here. So what we can see is now, if you go down to the 1 hour, what price action is doing. Shoulder, head, tried to create another little shoulder here, and we saw that move to the downside. But yesterday I was looking at this area in particular. Before all this price action had formed, I was looking at this. I was looking at price action creating a head and shoulder pattern within this region, going to a smaller time frame and identifying it. I saw my head, I saw my shoulder, and I saw my other shoulder, and I saw the push down. Obviously, what we had was price action created a double bottom in the London session, an Asian session, I mean, and we saw that climb up. That climb up lasted also throughout the evening. After seeing a push down, a fake out to the downside, we had a pump back up. Price action wanted to come back up because he knew there were so many sellers within this region, and more sellers were being within this area. So in order for price action to continue this pressure to the downside, with this area here, we could have seen that the sellers were running out of steam. So the buyers had to take over for a moment to climb back up into this area, collect as much sellers as possible, and then decline. So that's what happened overnight. So it's important to kind of see this and understand this. So we've taken some short trades from when price action was at this high as here, because we wanted to see if price action would break, and we couldn't. It literally couldn't break. Create a market formation, double top. We were just watching, entered some more trades from these highs, and then we had the massive decline to the downside. So price action moved up, and then you'll see it come back down. Market, there you go. And that's what happened so far. Had that retest again, selling pressure again, another selling opportunity, and there you have it. So we're currently in profit from these highs, and we do want to fill this wick as well if we haven't already. Yep, we have. Can we go lower? Okay, so that's where we are looking to go lower. See, broker structure support, retest, we want to go lower. So with NZD weakening overnight, I do believe that we are going to see a big push on Euro NZD to the upside as well. Okay, so keep your eye on this, keep this trade going. USD JPY, for some of those that weren't sure what happened with this pair, it absolutely crashed. That's all you need to know. Okay, our target still hasn't been hit. Our target is 108. 108 literally down here, second level here. But what I'm looking for is price action to pull back, create another lower low, lower high, and then can we push even lower and continue. We've taken trades up here. We're about 4% in profit at the moment with our trade. So great to see this trade actually playing out to the T. So let's go back to Euro NZD, the pair that we are currently in. Okay, Euro NZD. So let me show you what's really happening with this pair. Starting on a weekly time frame, we can see that price action has now created a double bottom on a weekly time frame. Double bottom's been created. Not only so as double bottom, we can see our moving average is now acting as dynamic support, which is perfect. What else are we seeing with this action? We are seeing that price action is creating higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low. So I can pull up my Fibonacci tool from this previous higher high, higher low, A, and drag it to my, sorry, one second. So my A, drag it to my B section. I'm seeing a C retracement 618 on a weekly. Going to my daily time frame, and I'm starting to see what price action is doing here. Okay, two things that can happen. Either price action is going to break above the 170 and start trading above, and we are going to see a move to the upside, or price action is going to create a market formation within this area here. Okay, so because we know this is a daily time frame, there's a probability that price action is going to push and fill this wick. If you guys can see it, there's a wick here. So we could potentially get a push back down all the way to 800. So we could get a wick push all the way down because we've got previous resistance here. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that. Previous resistance, support now, where price action had wicked. If price action doesn't fill that wick, we could just push up. What we also need to understand is this, that we fill this massive wick by making that move to the downside. So we've done this whole move here. If I measure it, you'll see what I'm talking about. See, wicks need to be filled in the market. So we can see now this whole move here when price action broke structure. As you can see, support, resistance, we filled that wick because it was this wick here. So now we've done that, price action needs to return back to where it came from. It needs to make that move to the upside. So what I'm looking at is price action made a new low, either low or high, pump back up into 1.71500 level, which is up here. So that could be our first target, which is what I'm looking at. So going back to the weekly, we've seen it, daily support now. It's at daily support. I want to go to the 4 hour. This is where we get all technical and start to understand candlesticks, start to understand more about what's really happening here. So we've had the first drive, lower low, lower high. Second final bearish drive, bearish engulfing. Bearish engulfing, what we had was another bullish push up, another bullish following through. This now is 1, 2, 3. See, the bearish engulfing momentum was over pushed, was overtaken by the bias. That's what you need to be paying attention to, understanding what's happening within the 4 hour period within this range. Okay, so we can see that 171,100 is our area of resistance at the moment, and 170 or 1.69800 is our area of support. So within this region, price action looks to be creating an inverted head and shoulder pattern, whereas this is the head, that's the shoulder, this is the shoulder. I'll clone this, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, price action looks to be creating an inverted head and shoulder with the morning star formation. Big push up, retest. Can we get the continuation and bring price action into 1.71500, which is about approximately 140 pips. So now we understand this. What we want to do is you want to go down to the 1 hour. On a 1 hour, you start to see price action made a low, pushed up, create a high, higher low. Now this is the reversal. Okay, first push up, higher low. The higher low lines up with previous level of support, creating that head, shoulder, shoulder. If we can break above the 7100, we can push up higher, and then we could see price action make the movement where we want it to go. On a 15 minute, now it starts to be even more interesting. this is where you get all more confirmations. You could got triple bottom, 1, 2, 3, bullish engulfing, hammer candlestick, bullish engulfing, price action came back, tweezer bottom, hammer candlesticks. So with all of that being said, you can see where price action wants to go. There's also a little channel here, and you can see that price action wants to now go and revisit the top of this channel, which brings price action up into this area here around 170,500 level. So keep your eyes on this. You can see the moving averages and all time frames are matching. This is why I say correlating all time frames, starting a weekly, starting a daily. You can see if I remove everything, you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, the weekly, we've got still space to come down, but we need to go back up. So we can use our inner trend line, which is here. Okay, outer trend line, inner trend line, daily time frame. You can see that we're bouncing off the inner trend line. There is also a falling wedge that if you really want me to get technical, I can. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just sort this out. So there's a falling wedge we can really do on a 4 hour, but let me go back to the weekly and do this in the trend line properly. Yeah, you can see where we're bouncing from. There you go. So inner trend line, falling wedge. If you want to go 4 hour and you really want to get technical, you can see we're about to have that falling wedge formation build. Price action has just fell, but it's found support once, twice, 3 times, but also within this region here where we've had rejection here, rejection, fake out, come back. So you could also draw these patterns, etc., but all of that's nonsense, man. Simple. Understand price action, understand that there's a level of support within this region here, and we had a fake out, and we are going to see a push to the upside. So keep your eyes sealed on this pair to go long. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. It's not the best, but it's just something for you guys to get your head over. Alright, catch you later. Peace.